that it is not with a bang, but with a whimper that Carzzy will depart. No chance of making it further.
I still feel pretty confident in myself, but it's not easy at all. I know I haven't changed too much as a player or gotten worse or anything. Honestly, I've been just working even harder than before, but the results have gotten worse, so I was very hungry this whole time, and now I'm just starving, honestly.
You can be a rookie, but nobody takes a title from G2.
I just wanna play against Caps. I think this guy is the GOAT of Europe.
I just want to face him again and again until I beat him.
We're gonna have to play against tougher opponents, or there's gonna be people who step up to the plate. Even in winter, it was Mad Lion suddenly becoming much better.
Mad Lion's Koi taking over on the bottom side of the map. Triple kill for Fresh Cowie.
People are saying like, okay, these guys are crazy, they're rookies, and they're saying that they want to win worlds in the future, whatever, that people think are not achievable in Europe, but we truly believe that this is achievable.
I'm putting him D.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's going to be D tier.
Newcastle do it all, but the Emperor has other plans. And Yoyu and friends are going to finals.
We never won against G2. It would be good to beat them, at least once.
BDS beaten out, a clean sweep for G2 Esports as they move on to the winter finals.
I'm more than happy to be actually where I am right now.
Being back at Rogue, it's like no time has passed.
Finn is in the back line, Inax almost down, Larson and Finn, it's just the Rogue show here.
Now that I'm here, I think it's an opportunity that I cannot waste.
Mad Lions Koi knocked Vitality.
Even if we beat Mad Lions in those series, we would probably lose the next one because we were just not good enough.
It's a kick will fall, Humanoid kills off this key, and that's it, that's game.
The way we lost, I was like, actually I just want to play. But so mad, I was like, I cannot take a break, like I don't want to take a break.
It's an improvement. 8 is not 10th.
Giant X will secure top 8.
We're still progressing a lot. I think we're gonna be a lot readier.
I expect this split to be like way higher level.
We have another chance to aim big. I believe we can.
I don't think in EU there's like a bot lane you cannot match.
Now flashback and push in. Flakked picking up first blood.
We were last place, so we don't need any more motivation to try to win some games.
Even though we beat them already, I want to beat them again.
With a pentakill, MDK absolutely outplayed Fnatic.
The next time we face Mad Lions, we're gonna beat them for sure.
Pentakill for Yike.
We can for sure win ADC.
We've shown that we can compete with the best, so don't underestimate us.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the LEC for Spring 2024. I'm Medic, I'm joined by Vedius, and we are very excited to usher you into a brand new era of League of Legends. And by an era, I mean perhaps another day, you know? It's been a 3-week break.
Really grandiose.
I went really grand and I realized I was being too grand, so I brought it back.
We are, of course, beginning our Spring Split tier. Everyone is resetting. We're back to a fresh start. So all of these teams that struggled, all of the teams that succeeded, we'll see them jumping onto a new patch in the same arena here. We are jumping straight into the draft. Orianna going to be taken away from the side of Vitality, Jace on the side of Heretics, and reminder that 14.5 is the patch that we are playing on today.
That is, and another reminder, we are playing with pre-recorded drafts today, so all of these picks have been made in advance, and now we're going to run through them to get on into the game quicker. For Game 2, the picks will be happening during this game, and then we'll see them, obviously, when we get into Game 2. So Orianna and Ashe banned away by Vitality on the blue side. No changes for their lineup. Heretics on the red side, though, have two switcheroos. Trimby coming in for support, and Zviru coming in as their mid laner. Jace and Senna, the two picks that they think are most deserving of being banned away.
I mean, we think of Photon, naturally a very big carry player on the top side of the map. Vitality as a whole did struggle last split, even though they did qualify into the top 8. That path was not an easy one. We'll see the improvements that they have made. The respect still being shown towards that top side of the map, though. How they round things out. Where is the state of Maokai on 14.5? Varus, Kalista, of course, both still very powerful picks in winter, and I believe that right now they should still be high on the priority list. But Smolder, Medic, our newest champion to the Rift, of course, is up and available.
It's first pickable, Vedi. Was nerfed slightly on 14.5, but still a very powerful AD carry. And Vedi, I know it's only game 1, but I'm kind of bored of Smolder already, my dude. It's just a champion. You want to scale to get 225 stacks. As soon as you get that, you get burn, you get an execute on your Q as well. It becomes very difficult to fight against him. So expect to see Carzzy trying to farm up on that dragon in the bot lane. Expect to hear me shouting "Mom" a few times through this game as well. Name of
I mean, it's
Smolder's
funny because
ultimate.
in the UK culture, it's mum, right?
Yeah. Hey, mum! I need some chicken fingers, please, mum.
The Varus likely going to be the response from Flakked towards the bot side of the map. I don't expect to see an early support pick. Wouldn't be surprised, though, to see something from the jungle here. Perhaps Xin Zhao with Vi taken off the board. I wonder if Volibear has risen in priority here in the LEC. We've been seeing it all throughout the world on previous patches. And I'm curious if that's going to be something high presence here today. Naturally, a very effective early game jungler. Very good at setting up for tower dives once you get to level 6. But obviously a lot of room depending on where you want to go with your draft here for Heretics.
Yeah, we are also still seeing things like the Rell in the jungle. You can look towards the Maokai as well, as you said. Rek'Sai also a possibility.
Already locked in here. I wonder if Renata, is that something you typically pair up with the Smolder? I know that it's very good into the Nautilus matchup, but...
So Smolder has a couple of different types of supports that he likes. He either likes to be buffed up with an enchanter, so think Milio, Lulu, or he likes CC, because then if someone's standing still, it's very easy to get stacks off them, because if you hit a champions with skills, you get your stacks. Taliyah, though, instead prioritized by Vitality alongside the Braum, so they already have a lot of CC in their kit for this Smolder to get those stacks. Taliyah, likely in the mid lane, we are seeing that quite a bit at the moment, can still, of course, be flexed into the jungle.
Yeah, I mean, I've been seeing a bunch of pros playing it a lot in solo queue Taliyah jungle, the wave clear, or the jungle clear, I should say, naturally still very, very fast. The flexibility that Vitality have here is one of the big strengths that they have in this draft. And the Karma response, you did receive some nerfs. I forget exactly what patch, I think it was 14.4 or 14.3, but it was one of them. Still very high presence when we look over towards the LCK especially, and I think that it does make sense, especially given that you can flex it between mid and top still. So, I'm very interested to see what we've got here, because you've got two very powerful flex picks in the form of the Taliyah and the Karma, which means that it's difficult now to know where you want to go with your bans. Heretics have a clear idea of where they want to put the Karma, which means that maybe they just want to try and match it into the Taliyah, hoping that it does go, in fact, into the mid lane. So now they're going to start attacking that top side of the map. You imagine that jungle is going to be the next pick for Jankos here, something like the Xin Zhao, perhaps. Maybe they want something. I wonder if they would consider the Nocturne. Maybe it's a little bit too aggressive in terms of what they've already drafted for themselves. Maybe they want a little bit more utility, like the Sejuani. I know Wukong received a bunch of dust. More tailored towards top lane Wukong, but I think that he can still work in the jungle.
I think the issue with something like a Nocturne here is how much disengage Vitality have. You've already got Taliyah and you've got the Braum. It's going to be very hard for the rest of the team to follow up on a Nocturne. Similarly, the Vi that is already banned away would fall into a similar detriment to the team. Maokai removed by Heretics, getting rid of some of that zone control from
so they,
Vitality.
Based on that, do believe that this Taliyah is likely going into the mid lane.
Yeah. With Maokai support no longer a thing on 14.5, really, obviously with the Braum already.
To nerf it away, yes.
Freak got Grandmasters like no one else. Pull up the ladder behind you. The Gragas bound away by Vitality as well. Obviously, can be played mid, can be played top. So
also, Wunder,
more
very
flexibility.
specific. For anyone that's been a long time fan of Wunder will know how terrifying his Gragas top can be. And for his first game, they don't want to give him that level of comfort. So the Sejuani that we talked about earlier, obviously a tried and true jungler, very safe in the current meta. And just acts as a very effective form of engage, a little, and also a very safe wave clearing. I mean, when you look at Heretics' composition, they have a lot of range, a lot of poke, Karma Varus. Having that additional form of frontline with Sejuani and Nautilus just gives you that extra bit of safety.
Also denies the Sejuani-Braum combination that we sometimes see happen with the Taliyah being able to be flexed into the mid lane, and means your R5 is top lane, or mid lane, depending on how you flex this Karma around, giving you the counter pick for what Vitality show now. With the Rell locked in, that's going to go jungle, which means Taliyah very much going into the mid lane, and we'll see Photon have to blind pick his top here. Often goes to something like the Gnar in a situation like this, something safe that you can farm with that doesn't really get beaten out, but instead the Twisted Fate was nerfed a little bit on 14.5.
I think it's pretty significant, in my opinion. I thought the AD ratio nerfs were actually really significant. I mean, we'll see how significant it is as we get into this game. But will the response from Wunder... Oh, it's going to be the Wukong top. Okay. We just talked about how Wukong did receive some buffs specifically towards trying to help out his top lane. They changed how his passive works, so basically it's easier to stack now, and he should be a little bit safer in the laning phase. Naturally, you expect TF to get that priority on the top side of the map. I'm curious as to how much control Vetheo is going to have. Karma versus Taliyah. You're going to be constantly having a lot of wave clear available to you. That constant back and forth push is going to be very important towards assisting this bot side. You imagine Vitality is going to be playing a weaker bot side of the map. Smolder Braum, very defensive, does have some potential setup for ganks, but primarily you're looking to try and survive and weather any potential early priority. But with the Smolder on the game, you have to imagine that the scaling advantage is the ability of Vitality to play through their side lanes. Twisted Fate being able to shadow Taliyah, pushing down a side lane, maybe looking for a gank, maybe just attacking one of these sides. Smolder's clearing, they try to collapse. There's the TF ready with the Taliyah ultimate as well. It's so easy for Vitality to collapse on any position with the sheer amount of globals that they have in their composition.
And the ability to lock someone down and then get the CC chain in as well. Gold card, into seismic shove. It's very simple for them to keep someone under CC for a very long period of time. Players are just rattling through the picks and bans on stage right now. And I'll be really interested to see how this TF does, Tom. Because as you say, the nerfs were, they're a bit heavier than I remember them being on 14.5. They took off about 55% bonus AD scaling on his stack deck. He still does get a bunch of bonus attack speed from it. You max it first, you get up to 50% bonus attack speed, and you do have 20% bonus AD scaling on it, but nowhere near as impactful as it used to be. And the Twisted Fate can be locked down in this top lane, especially against the Wukong Sejuani. You have the double melee synergy for Sejuani's permafrost. You can lock him down pretty well. You have the Cyclone as well for follow-up. I mean, very difficult for this Twisted Fate to navigate that laning phase unless he gets a bit of attention from his jungle.
So we are going to be jumping onto the Rift very soon. But it's a pleasure to be back with you, Medic.
It really is.
We are, of course, getting ready for the start of the Spring Split, as we mentioned. Fresh start for all of these teams. Championship points are going to tie in as a result of where these teams placed in Winter. And both of these teams are hungry for those points. Both Heretics and Vitality didn't have the strongest showing throughout playoffs. And they're going to be looking to bounce back. Vitality maintaining that roster. When we think back to the beginning of Winter, the reason why I rated Vitality highly was because I had faith in their coaching staff. Now it feels like that the whole coaching staff is back together again, and they're committed to showing that improvement and dedicating their time to making sure that this roster can work together. But Heretics said they needed to make a change. They couldn't work with what they currently had. They needed to see something different. And so now we're going to see how different this team does look with a key role in mid lane. Replacing Perkz, a long-standing player. He didn't have the strongest Winter, but for a young player that's been fighting for a spot in the LEC for a long time, and Trimby, obviously an experienced veteran and shot caller down in the support role.
And it was a turbulent time for Heretics as well. You know, the leak came out about Perkz, and then we saw the announcement out of the official Twitter account, the official X account, and there were a lot of contrasting stories from amongst the team, even Jankos on his stream saying perhaps things didn't align quite as well as they seemed to in the announcement. And with that introduction and with things changing relatively recently, you have to think that these first few games are really a statement for this Team Heretics roster and a statement for Sviru in the mid lane. The guy has been grinding away in the ERLs for a long time. He's been on Lost Heretics, on Team Heretics before they got into the LEC as well. And now he has his chance to show up on the main stage, but against Vetheo, who so consistently in the LEC has had these pop-off games, has had these pop-off moments. Probably the mid laner who most recently has joined the LEC and started to make a name for himself ever since his rookie split on Misfits. Can Sviru do the same?
Because I still think of Vetheo as a rookie in many ways, but he's not.
He's been here for like 3 years now.
He's a tried and true veteran at this point. He's very familiar with the stage, and Sviru will get his opportunity to go up against him. I mean, I didn't go through all of his match history, but it wouldn't even surprise me if they played in the ERLs before, like given both of their tenure and how long that they've been competing. What an exciting time. We're going to get to see some new blood on stage and a lot of our veterans, of course. But difference, change is what we need to say. The pressure is kind of on now. You're looking to not only get a high position for championship points to help you contribute towards securing a spot in the season finals at the end of the year, but another spot at MSI. Still exists, right? Like,
and championship points can actually be vital for that as well, because if G2 win Spring, we can't send them twice as much as perhaps you know, some people want to with the All-Star team, but you know, all we can do is send them once. So then the team with the highest championship points, I believe, will get that second spot. Obviously, MDK doing themselves a big favor by making it to the finals. Fnatic and BDS getting quite a few points from Spring as well, from Winter as well.
Certainly.
But these two teams will be fighting for those top spots, or at least beginning their challenge towards them as we start off Spring 2024. At the end of this split, we'll be halfway through the year, Vedi. have our first international competition, and will we have a new LEC champion to boot? We'll find out in 6 weeks' time. But for now, let's find out who wins between Team Heretics and Vitality.
So level ones, one of these teams been cooking up in the gap between Winter and Spring. Vitality going for a top lane approach.
30 seconds until minions
sitting in the brush, the tri-brush here. Vitality observers, if you could show us what Heretics see right now, we can see how Vitality can... Nope, they're not going to do anything sneaky. Instead, they're just fighting over that control of the top brush. Naturally very important, especially when we think about this Twisted Fate into Wukong matchup. I think it's what I would consider a very volatile matchup, in that when you have range versus melee matchups, it's winning for the ranged as long as they can maintain that pressure. The second that the melee suddenly shows that they have kill threat, or actually they have the ability to get trades that favor them, that's when the range champion becomes very, very afraid. And when you think about level 6 for Wukong, you realize, oh, there's actually a very clear window here where this Wukong can be very difficult to deal with.
The Vitality move up towards this top side actually helps Photon out quite a lot in the lane, because what will often happen is when you're playing as the melee into a ranged top laner, you'll want to hug one of these bushes to try and get XP, and you can step out of the bush, CS a minion, step back into the bush, and you go out of vision. But because they've managed to place this ward in the middle bush, and then Photon has used his own ward in this closer bush, Wunder can only step further back away from the minion line to get out of vision. So it actually becomes much harder for Wunder to maintain XP and CS in this lane, which is what Photon's punishing him for now.
And this is what Photon's trying to do, as you rightly called it. He also has the fleet footwork, so he's going to have that ever so slight sustain advantage. The Dawn Shield going to do some favors for Wunder, but already he's being forced to burn his pot. Even though the wave is slowly pushing in his favor, he's going to tick over to level 2. But trade's going very nicely for the time being for Photon.
Oh man, it's so painful. I laned into a lot of Twisted Fate AD carries when I was doing my my climb in the 3-week break that we had. Red card is deceptively high damage if you get anywhere near it. It's so painful to deal with. Daglas came up towards the top lane to see perhaps if Wunder was overstepping, but instead he just goes back and clears out his jungle. Jankos is moving down towards his bottom side as well, pathing towards Carzzy and Hyilissang. As you said, Vedi, it looks like Hyilissang and Carzzy are going to be left on a little bit of an island by Daglas, at least in the early game. Hook goes in from Trimby, but Hyilissang puts up the wall, and that's the issue of Nautilus into Braum. Whenever you try and hook in, the Unbreakable goes down. If you stay around too long, you get caught with the concussive blows, and it becomes very tricky for the Nautilus to actually navigate those fights.
Daglas was likely concerned, knowing that his bot lane wouldn't have any prio in the early game, that Jankos would try and set up some sort of invade. That's why he started on Raptors into red and then actually pathed back up to top, willing to sacrifice his Krugs. Does also give him an opportunity to look for a top lane play. You'll notice Vetheo already on the move. I was curious as to who would be able to get that early game prio, and it is Vetheo on the Taliyah. They have their eyes set on setting up for a dive. The wave is on in an ideal spot.
How many times have we seen this, though? A team tries to dive Wunder, he 1v3 outplays and gets away.
I mean, it looks like for now, Vitality was just fishing. Wunder, though, he's going to play relatively safe. He should be perfectly fine. And Jankos now using that window to get a bit of information. We'll drop that wards and look to go back to base. So nothing too crazy in our first game of the split. Everything looking pretty safe, pretty standard. Advantages kind of going where we expect. Photon having that push in the top side of the map, giving him that slight CS lead and gold lead. Of course, his passive contributing to that as well. Vetheo getting that early push, allowing him to move into the top side of the river. Wunder is that player that has to be cautious of these potential roams. Meanwhile, Carzzy and Hyilissang more on the receiving end, having to play a little bit more defensively against Flakked and Trimby, who naturally have that prior. Now, there is this bouncing wave. This is where this bot lane of Heretics have to be concerned about any potential dives that could come through. Question mark ping, though, coming onto Daglas means that Flakked and Trimby can feel very confident in clearing out this wave and contesting the wave because they have full information of where the enemy jungler is.
And that's why we so often see a jungler do their full clear and then step towards the enemy Razorbeaks and put a ward down, because they know on the re-clear from the enemy jungler, they're likely to go back towards their Razorbeaks because they're one of the first camps to respawn. And Daglas here was spotted out, tried to sneak around the vision, did manage to evade it, but the hook going down onto Hyilissang. Is it Winter all over again? Hyilissang steps too far forward, has to flash. It's forced away by Trimby and Flakked.
Nice window there. They spotted Carzzy going back, and they were able to interrupt Hyilissang just before he was able to get his back off, forcing his summoner spell out. So a small advantage gained, but overall, nothing too significant I draw my eyes towards the minimap once more. See Jankos actually starting off the grubs. Should be able to secure that one. Often I'll see junglers, especially when they're walking over vision like they just did, smite to make sure they secure the first one, because you get a lot of decent XP, and that's exactly what Jankos is going to do. Tick on over to level 5.
So importantly, you get a treat off a large or an epic monster, and each grub camp you can get one treat on your jungle item. So that's why we see, as you say, lots of junglers just doing that singular grub. It's not because they care about the little bit of true damage you get out of it. It's because you get a ton of XP, and you manage to get that treat on your jungle item, meaning you can get through towards that upgraded smite that little bit quicker. So Jankos doing that well. Knew that the bot lane was catching anyway for Vitality, so there was no threat of a dragon being done, but Jankos and Trimby are coming across to start up this Drake themselves. The Permafrost with the melee Nautilus will chip away at it relatively quickly. Daglas on his way across as well as Varus tries to join the fray. Flashes away from the seismic shove. Flakked now joining the fight against the Drake. It's PvE for Jankos, Trimby and Flakked, and they'll secure it. They kill the mob, the big boss, the raid boss, but can they get out? Jankos has to burn the flash. Trimby uses a dredge line to escape, and Vitality don't find anything more out of it.
I mean, a couple summoner spells used there.
Oh, it wasn't even Jankos' flash, it was Daglas' flash, and Jankos just jumped away.
Yeah, he was able to get his Q over the wall. He was able to go to safety. It was Varus who ended up using that flash right in the mid lane because he was so cautious, and great respect being shown. You can tell that he's really focused, making sure that he doesn't want to contribute to any early deaths. Now Jankos looking to make his presence known. We didn't really feel that presence from him in Winter, but there's the EUs from Carzzy. Could this be an angle?
It's a stacked wave as well. Carzzy and Hyilissang are going to have to step up with it if they want to crash it. But Flakked can freeze this now. Jankos doesn't have to show. Trimby and Flakked freeze the wave. And will Hyilissang stay around too long?
I don't know if it's worth it though. Maybe they want to get it back off themselves.
Looks like they'll just bounce it through, as you say.
Yeah, they can push this wave in as well. Cannon wave, try and push this in as quickly as possible. The problem for them is going to be that Hyilissang should be able to hold this, which means that Carzzy should be able to catch the entire wave. But the advantage is that Trimby knows that Hyilissang is going to stay around. There's a window for Trimby to go back to base and already start moving out on the map first. Maybe look to try and secure the rest of those grubs, or even just look for an opportunity elsewhere on the map. Nothing too crazy though. Our gold largely remaining dead even. The biggest gold advantage being gained on the top side of the map in favor of Photon. Not too surprising considering his passive.
Yeah.
And one on the bot side of the map, an advantage being gained for Flakked, largely just because of the current CS lead that he's sitting on. Both junglers now making their way towards the top. But look at the level difference here. Jankos with 6, Staggs with 5.
If he leeches 2 minions, I think he gets 6 off this, but the minions are going to die because Wunder goes in immediately. Stun card locked onto him. Jankos joining the fray as Daglas has no flash to get out of this one. Cyclone for the knock-up, Permafrost for the stun, Glacial Prism for the follow-up, and First Blood is done. Heretics secure.
And we talk about that kill threat from Wunder once he gets to level 6. You could see how Photon was immediately forced to retreat, but they thought they could punish it. Now the TF ult.
Looking for Zyvu here, has no flash. Photon has to flash away. Trimby acting as that bouncer, keeping his karma safe, and Hyilissang and Vetheo have to retreat. As Photon saw an opportunity, but couldn't make much more of it.
I like the idea from Vitality, but the damage from Varus was way too much. Forced Photon to flash away. And the mid support of Team Heretics walks away safely. So overall, advantage gained for Heretics. They've secured themselves the first dragon. They got themselves first bloods. Things are going a-okay for the time being, but the problem is going to be the Smolder. Now, I know people in the audience, they're going to be like, oh, show the stack, show the stack. You can see them on your screen. Just underneath Carzzy's name, you'll see that very small icon underneath. Yeah, and Medic's highlighting it for us now. So if you're interested in the stacks, you can keep track of it yourself. Next stat is also the XP bar, indicating when these players are close to their level up as well. But yes, it is naturally this Smolder that is going to be scary for Vitality, but Heretics looking to try and collapse.
Used as the cleanse. Mom is called! It's dinner time in the bot lane, but Flakked's able to escape. The chicken nugget's not quite ready yet. Man,
good damage
done onto Flakked.
I mean, it wasn't designed for casters in mind.
It's as bad as supreme display of talent, man.
Oh, so you watched the podcast then?
Yeah, well, no, it's my least favorite ability name, because after every cast with the Kiana in, I'm just like, hey Medic, I know you really like G2, but why'd you keep saying caps as showing the supreme display of talent? That's the name of the ability. The cease and desist I got the other day as well. Someone's like, why does he keep saying cease and desist? It's Spy's ultimate name. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know any ability names. They're all just QWER to me.
Yeah. I think you should use Smolder's W ability name.
I don't know what his W ability name is.
If you just sneeze into your microphone, it's Achu.
Oh, it's Achu?
Yeah, it's
Achu. Well,
got to keep six feet away from him when he uses that.
Can sneeze his Q on a Wunder, set up for a gank here.
It is quite cold, that Q, so it makes sense that he would sneeze it. Trimby coming up as well. Wunder has the Cyclone. Trimby's here. No flash, does have the Hex Flash. Photon looking for the gold card, locks it in, hits Wunder with it, but the wave's under tower now. Wunder looks for the Cyclone, goes in. Photon, no flash for him. Daglas gets the stun with a Shadowing Strike, but Jankos is on his way. TP in as Heretics start to invest in the play. Wunder uses the second cast of the Cyclone, and Trimby now going to look to lock up Daglas. The Magnet Storm is only a magnet for Heretics as they lock him down and shut out Daglas from the play.
I feel like what we're seeing is a situation where Vitality can only find opportunities on the top side of the map. But because of Wukong and Sejuani, they're just winning out on a lot of these 2v2s. Now they're going for the dive.
It's a full-on submarine play, Unbreakable down. Photon locked up by Trimby. Hyilissang trying to survive under the tower. Jankos flashes away. Who's tanking next? It's Wunder. Jankos takes the kill, doesn't fall. As it was written for Heretics. Lisan Al-Khaib for Jankos as he gets another, but Vetheo able to shut him down in the end.
So we finally get to see a roam coming out from Vetheo. I was expecting him to collapse earlier thanks to his ultimate, but Heretics just continue to find these advantages. Heal going to come out from the ultimate of Carzzy.
Oh.
Flash used there by Flakked. Daglas not quite able to connect his stun, which means that Flakked walks away safely. Advantages continue to be gained for Heretics. It's not resulting in a significant gold lead for the time being. Dragon is available though. We look back at this dive and very well executed from Heretics. The chain CC, Jankos starts off by tanking it. The Braum ultimate to try and keep Jankos underneath the tower long enough, but it doesn't quite have the damage needed to secure that kill. Wunder then tanks it. He gets away thanks to the shield safety from Svaru. And then Vetheo coming in with the ultimate to turn a kill back in the favor of Vitality. That's their first kill of the game though. And advantages are just being gained on the top side of the map for Heretics.
Importantly for Vitality though, Jankos was the one getting all the kills. He's 1,000 gold up, but Vetheo is now 300 gold up in his lane because he was able to get the shutdown on Jankos. Now Trimby's caught out, Daglas jumping in, the TP invested by Wunder as he's going to join the fray. Photon doesn't have a TP to answer, and once again, Daglas is left legless as Vitality leave him for dust. Take his water back and put it in the desert. Heretics 5-1 up.
The problem was Svaru had already started roaming from mid. They recognized that the numbers would not go in their favor, and so they had to disengage. They had to leave Daglas to the wolves. And Heretics find themselves another kill. Dragon gonna go in the favor as well. Photon should be able to secure a number of plates on the top side of the map.
Hilly, what are you... That's so greedy from Hilly. He puts up the Unbreakable. They're actually gonna kill off Trimby. Okay, maybe it wasn't. I'm sorry, I doubted you, Hilly. Once again, the prophecies are true. Carzzy getting the cleanse away as Hilly almost falls to the Glacial Prison AoE. He's able to survive. The Dragon secured by Heretics in the end. It's their second of the game. It will be a Hex Soul up next. Mom used, I think, just to try and stop the tempo as well. Yeah, but Flakked was backing. I think he thought he could hit Flakked.
Perhaps.
To maybe adjust his tempo a little bit. Svaru looking for Carzzy. No cleanse. Has to burn the flash. Malignant's Karma is a powerful beast to be wrestled with.
They did nerf the ultimate, but you can see the damage is still lethal. But yeah, I mean, that's the beauty of Hyilissang, right? You never really know. Is he inting or is he making a genius play?
I used to be on the side of he's making a genius play, and then winter happened, and so now I'm on the side of he's inting. But apparently,
that's what he wanted all along. That was part of his master plan.
Subverting expectations.
You never really know. He's only gotten one death so far this game. Of course,
we are only 14 minutes in.
That we are. I'm not going to count my chickens before they hatch. The thing that I'm thinking of right now, it feels like Heretics is just kind of shutting down all of the plays that Vitality is trying to make. But the longer this game goes, I think Vitality have a lot of damage at their disposal, right? I think about the damage threats on Heretics, and like, sure, Karma has a lot of obnoxious poke, and Flakked has a lot of obnoxious poke, but when you're really getting into the thick of the fight, when you can't just take advantage of this poke, I feel like Twisted Fate, Taliyah, Smolder, there's just more damage available on the side of Vitality. So depending on how the fights play, I still feel like that they have a very clear way of bouncing back in this game. And the goal deficit really isn't that significant for the time being, largely thanks to the Twisted Fate passive, I will admit. But even then, we kind of look at the animation, it's very even across the board, nothing too dramatic. Veto's still scaling up with his Arcane, just Flakked now in danger, has the cleanse.
He's got the cleanse. Cleanses immediately. Hyilissang misses the Winter's Bite. Glacial Fissure coming out. Cleaning of corruption. Almost caught onto Photon. Death Charge used away. There's Mom! And there she goes, charging into the distance as Carzzy just put some damage down. But the reason Heretics are taking, well, at least extending this fight is because Viru's in the bottom lane. They couldn't really fight around the Herald. They instead decided to push out mid. Vitality looked for a fight because they're like, well, maybe we can get Sviru to TP up here. Sviru didn't. And because of that, he was able to get some damage on that bot lane tier 1. Wasn't able to take it out yet. Jankos on his way down here, maybe to bolster the attack. Instead decides discretion is the better form of valor as he backs away towards his blue.
So we think about next objectives on the map. It's these outer towers that really need to drop. And so we'll see where they invest. The easy one is Vitality on the top side of the map. That tower is already very, very low. By moving your AD carries into mid lane, it now becomes about that fight between the AD carries and support to get control over mid so that you can start moving towards one of these sides. You can see Taliyah being sent off to bot. Vetheo doesn't have the TP available, but does of course have the ultimate. Can also interrupt Sviru, but knowing that Heretics has that TP advantage, they're the scary ones right now at the potential setting up for a play elsewhere on the map.
You can see Trimby not with his AD carry, instead Jankos helping Flakked hold this mid wave. Trimby was looking to see if he could force Photon to die underneath that tower. Photon backed off, so you can't. Vetheo charges in mid, and this will likely be a lot of damage on the tower. Not quite falling. Glacial Prison hitting as Daglas once again caught out a little bit. Does still have the flash, but he's locked up by Trimby, and Daglas goes down. Flakked with his second kill of the game. And once again, hasn't been a good start of Spring for Daglas. 0-4.
A really great punish because Vitality, in their minds, they realized that they had the push in mid so they could drop the Herald and siege onto the tower. All makes sense. The problem is the wave got thinned out very quickly. And so all that was left was the Herald. And I think that the Herald didn't do as much damage as they were expecting to the tower. So it was still healthy enough to weather the pressure from Vitality. And then with the collapse from Trimby, they could turn that into a re-engage. So just good awareness from Heretics. They get themselves their first tower by knocking down this bot tier 1. Mid is likely to fall soon. We can see when we look at the minimap that the Varus isn't anywhere near for the time being this mid lane. So Carzzy should be able to just knock this one down. Objective traded. Now I wonder, it's this top side of the map that now becomes unlocking these outer towers.
It really does, and it's very much about, will Wunder get caught out or will Photon get caught out? Because that's what both these teams want to do, is try and isolate that top laner. Wunder, though, is going to back away. Photon keeps him in the lane for a moment longer.
Well, Wunder would love to get a back off because we look at the Dragon time at 25 seconds. Perhaps they're looking to push one more wave out, then get that reset, and then move down towards this bot side of the map. I think Sviru has an opportunity to move bot and push out that wave, but I guess if he does, it's going to be harder to contest this mid wave. They do, of course, already have control, but they need to fight over another one before they can really start off this Dragon. Jankos getting some deep vision onto Vitality's side of the jungle makes it harder for them to approach. You see them overstacking on the mid wave to try and gain control.
Hilly, caught with the hook. Glacial Fisher going down. There's the Destiny TP in, but already Trimby very low. Gets the Titan's Wrath shield, but it's not enough. Daglas flashes away as Wunder looked for the play with the TP in. Destiny invested by Photon. Vitality now have a man advantage.
Still very healthy members on the side of Heretics. Vitality have to be very cautious about how they approach this fight. The flank, Vitality is very aware of it. They are scared of Wunder coming up behind them, and so they're going to choose to back away.
And they have vision in the pit. Daglas is resetting, but Vitality could keep Heretics interested for long enough here. There's a TP available for Photon. Remember, he used the Destiny to get down to the fight. Hilly low, Trimby now rejoining the fray. There's the teleport in, Wunder spotted on a ward. The Dragon down to 1,000 should be secured by Jankos. The Smite gets it, and Wunder backs away with the Hexgate. In the end, much ado about nothing, as Heretics managed to get out with their third Drake and Soul Point.
Nice patient play there from Heretics. They used the threat of their HP to make Vitality uncomfortable. Walking into a Karma Varus is a very scary thing to do. And given how far behind Daglas, you look at these items, he's not that tanky, man. Like, even if he wants to face check, it's a very scary thing to do. You're very reliant on Hilly to do that. Cleanse is going to be burned on Carzzy. That nice ultimate coming out from Jankos. But and while Hilly does do a good job, the problem is his HP was already at half, right? So he didn't quite have that HP to face check once again. Even though he was testing the waters a little bit, the moment that Celestial opposition is popped, he becomes a much squishier front line to deal with. So well played from Heretics, nice patient play. They secure another drag.
Vitality looking for Trimby here, but he's able to dredge line his way away. Carzzy at 189 stacks. Smolder actually really likes these sort of 5v5 mid-game fights because of how easy it is to stack up in them. Every time you hit an opponent, a champion with a spell, you get more stacks. So it's not just farming with your Q. Instead, you're able to farm on your opposition as well. So if Carzzy gets to that 2-2-5, we might start see Vitality being a little bit more on the front foot in these fights because of the burn, because of the execute, and obviously the more stacks he gets above that, the better the execute and the burn become for him. We haven't seen Vitality's proactivity pay dividends for them so far this game. It has been Heretics shutting down Daglas at every conceivable opportunity, so we'll see what steps they take to rectify that over the next few minutes, because in 3 minutes time they will have to fight over the Hex Soul unless Heretics give it to them in exchange for something else. Seismic Shove coming out on Jankos, he's down. A little bit of HP, Daglas dodging away. Mom was used to clear out the wave. Carzzy at almost 200 stacks.
Didn't he miss the wave though?
I didn't see it because I was looking at Jankos. It was used to clear out the wave even if it didn't achieve that goal, Vedius.
Wunder.
Destiny on Wunder, Cyclone out. Pops the clone as well with that decoy, and Wunder able to get away. Hyilissang keeping Zweiru and Trimby interested down towards the bottom of the fight. Photon looking to lock in another gold card, does so.
I think Heretics is fine with this though. There's no real objective to play for. Vitality could use this to move towards the bot tower, try and get some control over the bot side vision, and then, or bot side jungle rather, and then try and secure that outer tower. And
Photon.
Heretics just gonna do the cross map though as they move into the top side river, clear out some vision here.
Photon wants to get up towards this top wave as well because it is pushing in towards the tower, and that is gold and XP being lost. So he will manage to get up here. That tower's still yet to fall. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, Vetheo pushing out as well. Photon backs away after clearing the wave. You don't really want to be pushing two sides visibly at the same time. So because we know Vetheo's down towards that bottom side, Photon needs to be able to react to any play that might erupt. Zweiru, the first target here, flashes away, stunned with the concussive blows. There's a Magnet Storm as well. And for the first time, Zweiru falls on the LEC stage. Mom is caught and Flakked slowed. Hyilissang looking for a little bit more chase as Vetheo goes in with the Weavers. Wall separates two. Wunder flashes, so does Flakked. Trimby caught with the gold card, but he's able to tank that up and walk his way away. Double flash is invested. Will Vitality turn their eyes towards the Baron?
That's my question as well, Medic. They have the numbers advantage. Zweiru does, however, have the TP. It's a matter of how quickly does this Baron fall.
Carzzy has 230 stacks. He's hit that threshold. You have double AD carry as well with Photon. Vetheo can shred through it. It's down to 6,000. Jankos can look for the steal. Flash smite available to him.
Jankos is so healthy, though. He feels very confident walking up. The poke comes through.
Flashes. Glacial Prison goes wide. Chain of Corruption used as well as they engage onto Jankos. The knockback. Jankos falling lower. He flashes away. Daglas, though, might be the first to fall in the fight. The Cyclone on the back line from Wunder is perfect. He decoyed them all and he deceived them as they thought he was in their midst, but instead he'd managed to dodge away. And now with no jungler, can Vitality continue to fight this? Heretics should secure it. Jankos with the smite gets it. First to fall is Trimby. Jankos dashes across the wall. Wunder does the same. And Heretics have just pulled off the heist of the day.
Wow, so Vitality couldn't quite kill the Baron fast enough and deny Jankos access to the fight, but really so much credit needs to be given to Wunder and the poke that was coming out from Flakked and Zweiru. The fact that it wasn't easy for Vitality goes to show how lethal it was playing against this amount of poke around this neutral objective. We look back at it, and of course, they have the numbers advantage. The Karma is dead. Keep your eyes, though, on Wunder and Flakked in this fight. Yes, the engage looks promising initially, but then they're able to create this space. Wunder onto the backline has a huge ultimate onto multiple members, and then Flakked takes out the front line of Daglas with that engage. Trimby keeps the aggro going, and then Flakked just uses his range to poke away at Vitality. Now that Zweiru has rejoined the fight, he can contribute to that poke, and they're able to secure the Baron.
And now the Drake's up in 4 seconds. Mom being called down. Trimby the first to be locked up. Chain of Corruption goes down as well as Photon locks in the gold card, and Trimby is shut out of the fight. The blue secured. Smite used, though, by Jankos means he won't have it if they try and fight around this Drake. Could be the 15-second cooldown. Maybe they can delay for long enough. 8,000 HP on the Dragon would be soul for Jankos and Heretics if they secure it. Wunder coming in. The Weaver's Wall separates Flakked away from the fight, though. Wunder dashing forward, locked up immediately, gets the Cyclone off and manages to kill off Hyilissang, but he falls for it. Jankos now has his smite back up. Photon looking for flank position as Heretics step into a 3v4. The control ward in the bush, though.
This poke is so important. Zweiru and Flakked need to land it if they want to secure this Dragon.
And Daglas Q smite. He can't. Well, he can, but Vetheo gets it. Carzzy now trying to open up. Can't quite get the autos down. Flakked with the cleanse. Look at Trimby, though. He's joining from the top side of this fight. And Carzzy doesn't have flash. Can Trimby get in range? Not quite for Carzzy. Instead, he burns Vetheo's summoner.
Wow, so Vitality buy enough time to deny the soul away from Heretics. There will be another Dragon fight, and the best news for them is the Baron has largely been unused. There's still a minute left, but the resets need to come through. And Heretics, while they were able to secure that objective, not converting it into unlocking this mid tower, already any pressure on the map buys them a lot of benefits. Carzzy, look at the positioning here, gets knocked up by Wunder, flashes away over the wall. The Braum providing enough safety that while Hyilissang does lose his life, it allows Carzzy to secure that kill. And then it just becomes this very dangerous poke battle between the two sides. Vitality too hesitant to overcommit because they know Jankos is there. The damage is good, but the damage is better from the side of Vitality as they secure the dragon. And then everyone disengages from both sides. A very tense moment when you have this much poke on either side, because it's all about how does that poke land, how does it connect, who is it connecting onto. And you can see how challenging it can be for these teams to navigate around it.
Issue we mentioned for Heretics that is starting to really rear its head now is just how strong Vitality can become as the game goes on. Carzzy sitting at 290 stacks. The execute threshold only gets higher the more stacks he gets, increases by 1% of their opposition's max HP per 40 stacks he has. So it's only getting higher and higher. Jankos has Anathema's Knight's Vow, so he is a very tanky woman on a boar, I guess. Sejuani woman riding a boar, yeah?
That is factually correct, yes.
Oh, it's Poro Rider, though. Oh, is this... it's Firecracker, so it's, yeah, still a boar. You're right. Not riding a Poro here. But if Carzzy can get to his next item, it becomes increasingly more difficult for Heretics. However, they do have a 3-item lethality Varus. They do have a Wunder who's gone Profane, Hydra, and Sundered Sky. He's caught out a little bit, but he dashes across the wall, utilizing that very well as the Heretics top laner. Daglas stepping forward, Trimby with the hook once again. There's a slight clone. Destiny popped. Hyilissang trying to keep Flakked and Jankos at bay. Photon dashes in. Flakked able to get away from it. Didn't lock in the gold card there. No one dies as of yet, apart from Wunder on the top side of the fight, who was caught out by Carzzy, Daglas, and Vetheo.
I mean, it was a fight on two fronts, right? You had Wunder and Trimby engaging around the Raptors, whereas you had Jankos and Flakked engaging on the mid lane onto the Braum, and then Photon joined that 2v2 skirmish in the mid lane. And it just ended up being Vitality having more damage and more of a front line and surviving the damage being thrown out by Heretics to be able to win out on that skirmish on the top side. Meanwhile, Hyilissang, even though he lost a bunch of his HP, was able to mitigate that pressure. So Vitality ends up finding another kill. They finally equalize the kill score.
Photon has flash, dashes away from Jankos. There's the TP. Photon needs to get away from this permafrost. One more order is enough to stun him up. Jankos locks him in place, and Svaru is here. The chains will land, and Photon will fall. Svaru with his first kill on the LEC stage.
Well, he does commit the TP here. It means that there's a little less global pressure on the side of Heretics as another tower falls in the mid lane. But it's not the end of the world. He should be able to push out this bot lane. Dragon spawning in about a minute and a half. Vitality now look to attack top.
Oh, Wunder does have the flash. Will use it to get away from the seismic shove, but that's his flash burn for a Baron fight that's likely to erupt in about 40 seconds time. Hyilissang resetting. Just looking to replenish his vision supplies.
A bit of a mistake there from Wunder. He should have expected with the jungler on the bot side of the map that there was a cross-map option available for Vitality. They do end up burning his flash, and I think that's a pretty crucial summoner spell when we think about Wukong and his threat onto the backline. Regardless, though, we'll see how the next fight plays out, because largely it's about whether or not they can shut down Carzzy on the side of Vitality.
Has now finished the rapid fire cannon as well, and something we saw in the dragon fight earlier on was how difficult it was for Carzzy to actually approach Heretics because of how easy it is for them to close the gap. Here now with the rapid fire cannon, he has that little bit more range. It becomes a little bit harder for Heretics to get on top of him, and he will have both his summoners for the next fight as well.
In my opinion, some of the best Smolders I've seen are the ones that are just a little bit crazy, and then they're just always willing to play a little bit closer to the front line and willing to take that fight. That it is. Carzzy is a very confident player, and now that he's got that rapid fire, as you say, it should be a little bit easier to set that up. Is the Baron the objective? Yes, it is. There is some wards here that hasn't been spotted. Vetheo has the ultimate, though, to cut off his opposition.
Reaver's wall.
And he's going to chuck it out right now. Let's see how quickly they can burn this.
It's already down to 9,000, but I don't know if it gets low enough in time. Jankos still has the flash. Vetheo on the front line. There's Mom coming down. Jankos doesn't take too much damage. Glacial Fissure used, hits onto Hyilissang. The smite secure from Daglas as Wunder dives onto the back line, but now Carzzy can really open up, and the chicken nuggies have arrived for him. Mum delivers as Carzzy takes a kill. Photon with a flash forward, Svau with a flash away, but the chase continues as Carzzy gets his second. Trimby trying to flash away himself as well. Photon locks the gold card and locks Trimby in place. The dredge line misses the wall as Carzzy gets his third of the fight.
7-0-3 for our first Smolder of Spring. Carzzy is unleashed. He is becoming the evolved dragon, and Vitality is now firmly in control. We talked about how threatening this team can be when they get to a certain point in the game. The scaling is very fully, truly online. And while that soul was a threat, buying that extra bit of time may have been all Vitality needed to turn this game around. They're going to secure another one, and they're going to look to try and end this game. A great Weaver's Wall buys so much time for Vitality to melt through this objective. Jankos does land a good ultimate, but it's on to Hyilissang, who can just tank this up for days. The steal doesn't quite come through as Daglas secures it. And then look at the positioning of Carzzy here. Has a fantastic front line to play around, feels very comfortable. And even though Wunder is diving onto the back line, there's no one else really there with him. In theory, in isolation, he should be able to shut down Carzzy, shut down Photon if he can catch them isolated. But in this chaotic team fight where you've got Daglas and Hyilissang acting as a wall that the rest of the team is trying to chip away at, it is not quite enough. Frustration on the coaching staff side of Heretics as Vitality now firmly in control of this game.
Smolder with 6,400 damage in that fight, more than, I believe, the entirety of Team Heretics combined.
Yes.
It's a sizable chunk of change there from Carzzy, who's almost at 400
3.5, 4.4, 5.5. It's about 6.6 on the side of Heretics. So yeah.
Quick maths.
Quick maths.
2 plus 2 is 4, minus 1 is 3. 183 stacks for Carzzy on the Smolder. And now with the Baron buff, Vitality continue to push in, utilizing him much better than Heretics managed to when they had the Baron earlier in the game. Carzzy has Lord Dominic's Regards finished as well, and an extra crit cloak to buff up his damage. Mom called down, really just to push Heretics away more than anything. In that sort of use case, it's very much like the Maokai ultimates. We often see Nature's Grasp behind the tower to force Heretics on the back foot. Glacial Fissure used on Trimby as well, as the Glacial Prison hits on Daglas, but Heretics are just entirely out of gas in terms of chasing onto Vitality. Vetheo going towards mid lane as Photon's there as well. Vetheo just covering, clears out this control ward. Photon opens up on the inhibitor and it's down in about 8 or 9 auto attacks. And now, does Vitality ever want to approach the bot lane? Probably not. The minion wave pushed all the way to their T2. They don't care about it. As you say, big damage on Carzzy, but he has Hyilissang as the front line. Depth charge going to land onto Carzzy. There's the Magnet Storm as well. All they're doing is buying as much time for the Dragon to unleash hell once again. Heretics are diving into it, and there are bile spitters here as Carzzy able to find another with his team. The Baron expires, but there's another minion wave coming in. Heretics going to try and reset, maybe get back here in time, but I don't know if they'll be there quick enough to defend their inhibitor tower.
I like the fight from Heretics, but it looks like that it's not going to be enough. Another tower falls, and I think this should be the signal for Vitality to retreat. Baron spawns in about 2 minutes time. They've done some good damage to the base of Heretics, but they're going to play it safe for the time being. Vitality. We wanted to know how different these teams would look coming into this split, and we had a very reserved, very patient early game, but one thing we can say for sure, Carzzy, a highlight from the team from Winter, and he continues to be that. You give him a powerful champion like Smolder, you give him the opportunity to be a carry threat, and he's played flawlessly in this game. He's leveraged his front line perfectly. His spacing in fights, I mean, I think E is just such a powerful tool because of how quickly it allows you to reposition. And in every single fight, every time we see him in danger, he uses it to get right behind his Braum, right behind his Rell, to make sure that he is never really in any danger, making it so difficult for Heretics to put any kill threat onto this AD carry.
Very much a hyper-scaling AD carry. A similar goal would be achieved if this was a Jinx or an Aphelios. You know, you just stand behind your team, let them tank for you, and then you just auto-attack, and, I mean, you use your Q a little bit more.
But I think that's what's so scary about Smolder, is that you have the tools to play on the front line, to chip away, to poke, and then the second you're in danger, your E can immediately reposition you back behind your front line to a position of safety, and I think that's just what makes it such a strong AD carry. And as you rightly said, the second you get this RFC, it just makes it that much more more lethal. Flakked doing what he can, of course, 5-0-1 on the Varus. He's had a solid game himself, but the impact on this Varus is just not quite to the same degree. We're seeing him land poke at certain points, but I don't think it's going to be enough. The Dragon now spawning in 40 seconds. Let's see if Heretics can find a fight. I like the fight that they found in top lane. They kept their second inhibitor alive.
I mean, the problem is, Carzzy is now at 449 stacks, which means if you are affected by his burn and you fall below 13% of your maximum HP,
oh, just 13?
you die.
Oh, just
you die at 13%.
But doesn't that base on your max HP?
Yeah. Of their maximum HP, yeah. They're below, so all they have to do is
We're
not
about
fall
to
behind
find
13%. I think they might just die before they have an opportunity to react. Flakked didn't have a chance in hell of surviving that, nor did Trimby. Weaver's Wall in by Vetheo, flash forward by Photon. Jankos now locked up with a stun card. Wunder trying to dash back in, but he'll be next up on the menu for Carzzy. He flashes away and Jankos survives for a moment until Photon catches him under his Nexus towers. Wunder trying to survive as well, but in the end he will die alongside his comrades. Vetheo and Vitality clean up the ace, and they're looking for their first win of spring.
A strong start to the split for Vitality, a very different
gonna
look
die
from what we saw in Winter. That wouldn't be Hilly without chucking an extra death in there to round out the game. Smiles on the faces of Vitality, some frustration on the side of Heretics, but they're going to lock down their first win of spring.
And in convincing fashion as well. The early game, more Heretics favored. Jankos did a really good job of reading Daglas, but as soon as we got towards that fourth dragon, that second Baron, the power... the power of Vitality's team composition just really came online.
Oh, I really hope that the fans at home saw that. I know we saw that, but I hope
no, it was on the main screen, so I think I was on the program as well.
What a great impression of Carzzy, stone-faced, 10-0-6 the scoreline. Involved in 16 of the team's 17 kills. Yeah. Very impressive stuff. You can, of course, vote for the player of the game. You can vote now at LEC on X, Daglas, Vetheo, Carzzy, all very valid choices. I have a feeling it is very likely to be Carzzy.
Yeah, I think so too. I think so too. But for now, I think we're going to go do a short break before we get on into our second series of the day. Don't you go anywhere.